Hey everybody, David Burns, Certified Master Beekeeper. Good to be with you again today to talk some more about beekeeping. And some of you watched my last video where I described the different hive tools and how you use them. I was basically in that video pointing out why I prefer the J-hook over the traditional hive tool. And then I showed an example of how why the J-hook exists, how you use it to lift frames out. Some of you were confused, just a few of you were confused and thought I was showing you actually how to inspect a hive or how to manipulate frames, but that was not my intent. My intent was just simply show you why one hive tool has a hook on it. So today I thought I would just clarify it and actually show you how to manipulate some frames with the J-hook hive tool, how I do inspections. That's one of the important reasons why you need to take a beekeeping class. Sometimes if you try to get all your information on YouTube, different YouTube creators like myself show you a little snippets of what we're doing. We don't go into great detail sometimes. And the truth be told, most YouTubers are internet-tainers. There's a lot more that goes into entertaining you than maybe educating you on YouTube. And that's because if we don't entertain you, you're not going to continue to watch, you'll go away. And so YouTube rewards those who create content that can hold people. So a lot of times what you're watching is more show than class. I try to balance that. I try to entertain you and give you a little bit of education at the same time. So today I want to follow up with that video and show you why I manipulate a frame the way that I do. Now it's very cold outside today. It's freezing outside, so I can't go out there. I have shown in my beekeeping classes how to work hives. I have shown in many of my public beekeeping videos here on YouTube, how you work a hive. I'm sure I have a ton of those, but I just want to follow up because some of you are just now getting started and you haven't watched some of my past videos. What I've selected today is a honey super that I took off one of my hives last summer, and I put it in the freezer. And I put them in the freezer when I take them off the hive. That way I can store them safely until I'm ready to extract them. And then with this one, I took it out of the freezer, hoping to extract it, but I didn't. And then a year went by. I kept it in a kind of a dry room. I put it back in the freezer, got busy. So I should have harvested it. I haven't. But it's a good example of what these things look like. And pretty much I wanted to show you what does it look like when it's really propolized. As you can see how much propolis there is on here. It's insane. And it makes it very hard, very challenging. When you do your inspections, sometimes the brood box will be this propolized together. And those of you that are experienced beekeepers know that this is a lot of propolis, a sticky substance that bees gather from trees and plants. And they use it as part of their immune system, actually, because it's antimicrobial, antibacterial, and they use it all around the hive. They'll coat the inside of the wood of the hive with it. And many studies show that it actually helps bees survive winter by making them more healthy because it is such a part of their immune system, actually killing pathogens. That's propolis. But you can see how it makes really hard for beekeepers to work their frames when they're that glued together. And in this case, the top pieces of the top cover wood have come off when I tried to lift it off. It was so stuck together. The cooler this propolis is, the harder it becomes, the warmer the propolis is, the softer it becomes. But so right now, this is very cold. It's about, it's below 70 in the room that I'm in right now. But I wanted you to see, what do you do when you have to work a hive like this, that is just this glued together? In the last video, some of you suggested, and rightfully so, you left comments that, if you were to pull this frame up here, you might kill bees that are in between these frames, because you might roll the bees. Your queen could be in there. So what we like to do is provide some spacing so that when you start working your frames, you can spread your frames out without hurting or injuring any bees. And fortunately, like I said, I pulled this one as a demonstration. There's no bees in here, and it's too cold for me to work a hive outside today. So I just thought I'd show you what it's going to be like for us to kind of manipulate this if we were actually opening up a hive. Now, the first thing I do, this is how I work it. I'm not saying I have the best way, but this seems to work really well for me. I like to take the first frame out. And the reason I like to do that, bees often don't really populate this particular frame against the wall as much as they would the ones more in the middle, especially in the brood nest area. This honey super, oftentimes you'll find the one against the wall, especially this side, sometimes isn't drawn out all the way, or it doesn't have enough capped over honey to actually harvest. So if this was a brood box and I was pulling up only this frame first, I would have the potential, especially if the comb is uneven, of pulling this frame up, damaging the comb, and killing my queen if she's on that frame. So over here, less population and sometimes less stored resources, and certainly rarely do you find the queen over here, especially on a brood box frame. So this is where the J-hook kind of comes in handy. You can see this is just glued together really tight. There's 10 frames in here. Now, if I didn't have a J-hook hive tool, I could actually kind of probably do something like this, where I could pry it up like that. But since I do have this J-hook, I'm going to attempt to do it the way this tool is designed to do it. Now, again, this is very glued together and it's very cold. And you can hear the propolis kind of letting loose because it's so cold. But that's how this J-hook is working for me, by loosening up this propolis so I can pull a frame out. If I didn't have the J-hook, again, I would have to go in between it and wedge it. And sometimes when you do that, you can break the wood that is connected to. So getting these loosened up like this is the best way to do it. And then you can pull this frame out, whether it's a honey super or a brood frame. You can lift this one out. Like I said, they don't always, completely add around the edges to this frame against the wall. And on the inside, you can see they mostly did. Now, with one frame out, what's really nice now is that what I do next, I have a space here, and this space allows me to manipulate my frames so that when I work them, I'm not really manipulating my frames in a way that injures the bees. So if there were bees on here, I would take my hive tool and twist it a little bit. Let me get it in the camera here for you. Twist it in order to bring this one closer to where I'm standing, like this. And same on the other side. Just apply a little twist to it like this. And now you really don't need to take this one out if you're doing an inspection. You can simply move it this way toward me. And maybe you want to find the queen, and so you're wanting to go in the middle more. So you can keep kind of loosening these up. Sometimes you might need to do it by breaking the propolis seal right between where these frames are connected. Trying to demonstrate it for you here. But that's how I actually allow myself space. So now, if I can make this clear to you, especially if you're a new beginner beekeeper, we can lift this frame out here, this one, because there's a lot of space between the two that we're not going to injure bees. But see, if we pulled these out, they're so close together, we could injure bees. So by doing it this way, there's a space. We don't damage the comb. We can just lift it out like that. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope that clarifies how to work a hive. And I hope you are interested in keeping bees in 2021. This is a year that you might find an enjoyable hobby to be just what you need to actually stay focused and not get so closed in from the pandemic and being quarantined in your house. being able to be motivated to go outside and have fun with your bees and nature is a hoot. So I hope you do enjoy it. I want you to subscribe to these videos. I'm going to be making a lot more. I've got one coming up. I'm going to film it today of how to wrap your hive and get it ready for winter. We'll put a winter be kind on that too. It's already January, so it's time for me to make sure my bees are ready for some cold weather here in central Illinois. So do subscribe, click on the bell. I'll see you next time.